Hello everyone, hope you're all doing good. So today we are here for grade 10 maths. The chapter today we discuss that is vectors, and here are the list of the lessons today we covered, that is find the magnitude of vector, find the component from a vector given its magnitude and direction angles, add and subtract the vectors. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudent.com. You have to log in by using your email and the passwords that are provided by the administrator. Select maths from the subject tab. There are the list of the chapter here related to the grade 10. So we are on the chapter vectors. Let's continue, and here are the list of the lessons, and we are on the lesson that is find the magnitude of the vector. So let's get start the vectors. So find the magnitude of the vector. Write your answer in the simplest form. So here is a basically the four quadrants are given. Okay, this is x-axis, negative x-axis, y-axis, and negative y-axis. And now the vector representation. This shows the vector. This is the sign of the vector that's shown like that with this one, and here is the arrowhead. Okay, this shows the vector. If it's so, here is the vector representative, like in the form of blue, and they are saying that there are 2 points. One point is 0, and what is the other point? That is basically on the 5, because this is 4 and 6, so the midpoint is 5, so this is 0 and 5. These are 2 points of that vector, and now they are saying that finding it out. So what are the initial points? Initial, both the points are 0 0, and the other point is 0 and 5. Okay, so these are the 2 points. Now since the x coordinate of initial point 0 0 and the terminal points are 0 and 5 are the same. So the vector is vertical. Look at here. What is the representation of vector? It moves upward, so that is vertical. If it is like in the form of x-axis, so that are called the horizontal. So how to find the magnitude? So they are saying that magnitude is the absolute value of the difference of the y coordinates. So which is 5 minus 0 and taking the absolute value. Okay, 5, this point is 5 and that is 0. These 2 points are subtracted and taking the absolute, because if the answer is in the form of negative, so when you are taking the absolute value, it turn to be positive. So this is the magnitude of the absolute value of the difference. Now let's suppose here are the 2 points, that is 0 0 and 0 and 8. Now the same thing that you are doing, 8 minus 0, and then in this way you get the answer 8, and taking also the absolute. Now what is the representation of vector here? Representation of vector here is on the horizontal. So what are the 2 points? This is 0 0, and uh, this is a basically 10 and 0. Okay, so now how can we find it out? So this is again 10 minus 0, so that is 10. Okay, so this is the representation of vector, because if it's negative, then you turned it out into the positive. That's it. Okay, so how to find the magnitude of the vector on the graph? So this is a basically the magnitude of a vector that we're going to finding it out on the graph. Okay, so this is a basically like that way. So let's discuss some test questions from that. Look at here. What is the representation of vector here? Because they are taking the absolute value for that. So what we do for that? So when you are going to put the absolute value of this, so here we are just going to finding it out by this way. Okay, oh, my screen is off. Wait, let me share again. So we are on the test questions. Let's suppose if I'm going to write it, let's suppose I'm going to write here a graph, then I'm going to draw the for the vector representation over there. Okay, let's suppose here is the graph. This is your x-axis, that is your x-axis and this is your y-axis. This is positive x, that is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think so, that's it. And with the negative terms, negative x-axis, this is a positive y, that is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these are negative, negative 2, negative 3, and negative 4, and this is your negative y. Now let's suppose if I'm going to draw a vector here. This is the representation of vector. So this is called the vertical vector, okay? And this vector is called the vertical vector. And if I'm going to draw here the vector like in the form of this way, like here, so this is called the horizontal vector, okay? So here is your horizontal vector, and this arrowhead represent where the vector moves, like the starting point, the initial point, and these are the basically the other points, okay? Now from that one, look at here. This vector is represent from 0 to 10. So how to find the magnitude? There are some. There are, for example, from this one, what are the 2 points 0, 0, and 4 and 0? And from this, what are the 2 points 0, 0, and 0 and 3? Okay, now when you are going to finding it out the magnitude, what we do? We are going to subtract it and taking the absolute value. So 4 minus 0 is 4. Answer is 4. But now here in the test questions, when we see in the test one, this is 0, 0, and minus 10, 0. Initial points are 0, 0, and then we are saying that minus 10 and 0. Now let's subtract, taking the absolute value, minus 10 minus 0, that is 10. Because absolute value, this means this is minus 10 here. Absolute value of negative number turned into to be positive. So this is plus 10. Alright. Hope you guys understand it. Now let's discuss this one. This is called the vertical vector. First point is 0, 0, and the other point, now it's in the mid of 8 and 10. So it means that the point is on the 9. So the point is here 0 and 9. So 9 minus 0, that is 9. Absolute value is 9. So that would not be negative, it always positive. 0, 0, and 7, 0. So this is 7 minus 0 and taking the absolute value, this is positive 7, okay? Hope you guys understand this lesson. So we are just finding it out the magnitude of that. Find the component from the vector, okay? Let's finding a component from a vector. Look at here. This is a basically the four quadrant is given. Now how can we find the component of the vector? Look at here. What is the first point from this? This is 0, 0. And what are this point from where the basically it stop? It's on minus 8 and minus 3. Both are negative. Now if we are going to find the horizontal change and then we're finding it out the vertical change. What is the horizontal change? So there are 2 points are given 0, 0, and minus 8 and 3. So what are the in from this point? First one is x and y, and there is x is minus 8, y is minus 3, okay? So first we are going to subtract only the x components from all both of it. So this is minus 8, this is 0. Second is subtracted from first one. Then from the vertical change we're going to subtract the other two. So the component from the vector is, and then we just write our answer like that way, okay? Let's suppose here I'm going to draw a vector. Let's take a graph from here, okay? Let's take this graph and then we solve it. So let's suppose here are some points. So let's do it. This point is our 0 and 0. So your first point is 0 and 0. What is this point? This is your 7, and from here it is your 9. Okay, so 7 and 9. So the other point is 7 and 9. There are 2 points. So first point we are going to finding it out here. That is 0 and 0, and the other point we are going to finding it out from that graph. This is 7 and 9. All right. Now, how to find the horizontal change and how to find the vertical change? For the horizontal change, what we do for that? For the horizontal change, we are going to check only the horizontal numbers. Okay, we are just subtract the x coordinate of the initial point from the x coordinate of the terminal points. These are called your initial point, and these are called your basically terminal points. Okay, so the horizontal change is, what is the horizontal change? First of all, we are going to writing it out. Horizontal change. Horizontal change. So look at here. First thing, this is your x, this is your y, that is your x, and that is your y. Okay, so horizontal change is you are going to subtract x coordinate of the initial point from the x coordinate of the terminal point. So what are the initial points? 0, and what are terminal points? That is 7. So 7 minus 0, this is 7. This is horizontal change of this one. Now what is the basically the vertical change? Let's do it. Vertical change. Okay, so now what is the vertical change? That is 9 minus 0, and which is 9. So how can we writing it out? First of all, we write down the x value, then y value. So horizontal represent x, that is 7, vertical represent y, that is 9. So 7 and 9 is your answer. Okay, then let's see. 7 and 9. All right, let's do the test questions. So let's do it. How to finding it out these points? So first of all, we are going to copy this and then solve it. Okay, so here are the 2 points. What are the initial point? That is 0 and 0, and the final point is 6 and 0. Terminal points. So it's not 6, it's 7. It's on 7. Here it's 7. Now how to finding it out? First of all, horizontal change, it represent h. So horizontal change is 7 minus 0, that is 7. And what is the vertical change? This is 0 minus 0, that is 0. And when you're going to write it, which is 7 and 0. Let's see, is there any option for 7 and 0? Yeah, it's the second option, and this is the right answer. Okay, let's discuss this one. So now let's see what are the 2 points, initial and terminal points. Okay, first we're going to write it down the initial points, which is 0 and 0, and what are the terminal points? That is on the 5, and this is also on the 5. So that is 5 and 5. So how much the horizontal change, which is 5 minus 0, that is 5. And what are the vertical change? This is 5 minus 0, and that is 5. So first of all, x value, then y value. So x value is 5, y value is also 5. So that is 5 and 5. Let's see, is there any answer for 5 and 5? Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just putting it out here. 5, it's 3. Okay, it's 3. 3 and 3. 5 and 3. I was just putting it out here. Now let's see this one. This is in the minus form. So we are going to solve it out. The same method we are using. So look at here. This is 0 and 0. Now look, this one and this one. Okay. So what are these points? This one is minus 3, and what is this point? Minus 8. 0 0 and minus 3 minus 8. So what is the horizontal change? Horizontal change is minus 3 minus 0, that is minus 3. What is the vertical change? Minus 8 minus 0, which is equals to minus 8. So that is minus 3 and minus 8. So hope you guys understand this lesson as well. So solve the rest of the test questions regarding this lesson by yourself. This is a very easy. You just check it out, the initial point, then terminal points, then just subtracting terminal points to the initial, and then just that's it. Find the component of the vector given its magnitude and direction angle. The magnitude of the vector is 9 and direction of the angle is 38 degree. So write the component from the V. Okay. So how can we writing it down? V cos theta and V sin theta. This is the basically the formula for that. Magnitude is given. Magnitude of V cos of theta. So what is magnitude of V? 9 cos theta, 9 sin theta. Okay. Angles are given, magnitudes are given. Okay, this is the basically formula for that. This shows the magnitude, cos theta, sin theta with magnitude. Magnitude of V cos theta, magnitude of V sin theta. So 9 times this and 9 times this, and we're just going to finding it out. Let's suppose the magnitude of the vector B is 29 and your angle is 83. Okay, let's solve this question. So B, that is a magnitude here. B cos of theta, B sin of theta. Okay. So what is magnitude of B which is given? That is 29 and angle is 83. 29 cos 83, 29 sin 83. Magnitude is just in case like if the it's in negative, so you turned it into the positive. Now finding cos 83, finding sin 83, just multiplying with 29 and write your answer. Okay, so there are two values from that. Let's suppose if I'm going to say that your magnitude is given, which is 2, and theta is given, that is 30 degree. Okay, now finding it out, cos magnitude of cos theta, magnitude of sine theta. Let's put in the value. This is 2 cos 30, 2 30. So how can we finding it out? Cos 30. So let's see. This is cos 30. So that is 2 times 0.866. Then 2 sine 30, 0.5. Now 0.5 times 2, that is 1. And now for the next, 2 times 0.866. So this is 1.732, and there are the two values. Okay, now let's discuss one or two test question. Okay, so magnitude of vector is given b, that is 17. Magnitude of v is 17, and angle in degree, which is 63 degree. Okay, now magnitude of b cos theta, magnitude of b sine theta, magnitude of b, which is 17 cos 63 degree, 17 sine 63 degree. So first of all, we are going to finding it at cos 63, and also times with 17. So 7.17, 7.717. Now for the sine, when we see that sine 63, then times with 17. Now it's 15.147. Let's see. 7.7.72 and 15.15. After rounding, they are just writing it, and that is the right answer. Now you guys solve this question. So magnitude of vector b is 29, and how much the angle that is given, which is 83. That is 83. Okay, now first of all finding cos, then finding sine. Magnitude is 29 cos 83, 29 sine 83. Now first of all finding it out, cos 83 then times 29. This is 3.534. Now when you're going to finding it out the other, this is sine 83 then times 29, that is 28.78. Let's see, is there any option for that? Yes, 3.53 and 28.78. Let's see, and this is the right answer. Hope you guys understand this lesson. Okay, so now solve the rest of the test questions regarding this lesson by yourself. Now if you want to solve this question, then guys do it. So the magnitude of the vector is given, which is a very small, that is 9, and theta is given, that is 38. Okay, so first of all finding the magnitude. Now first of all finding sine cos 38, then multiply with 9, then sine 38 multiplying with 9, and then that's it. So hope you guys understand this lesson. Solve the rest of the test questions regarding this lesson by yourself. Add and subtract the vectors. So now this is a basically representation of x and y. How to add it? First of all, we writing the point x1 and y1, then x2, y2, then adding x. So here first of all I'm going to writing it out. Write x in component form, then write y in component form, then find sum of x plus y. Okay, let's do it. First of all, checking the points. This is 0 0 point, and what is this point called? That point is 2 4 minus 5 and 3. Okay, this is x component. So x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1, this is your x component. Now from here we are going to finding the y component, same like that, and then just adding their answer, x and y, x plus y. So that is minus 5 plus 3, then 3 and 6. Let me just draw some figure over there, and then we add it. Okay, let's do it. So let's suppose this one we are going to do it. Okay, first of all, x component points. I'm going to write the x components. So here there is x component form. First of all is we are going to write it down the x component forms. Okay, so what are the x component forms? So first point is 0 0, and the other point is -1 4. So now just finding it out. um, Basically x component, x vector, which is x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1. And now as we know that this is your x1 y1, x2 y2. So what is x2? Minus 1 minus 0. And what is for the next? Y2 is 4 minus 0. So what are the answers? Minus 1 and 4. This is your x vector. Okay, now let's finding it out the y component. Y component. So what are the y components? So the first point is minus 1 and 4, and this last point is 3 and 1. Now for y component is, so this is same for the y components. X2 minus x1, y2 minus y1. So from that, as we know that this is x1 y1, x2 and y2. So x2 is 3, minus minus become plus, 1 minus 4. So 3 plus 1 is 4 and minus 3. This is your y component. Now just adding x component plus y component. Now how can we add? Add it like this way. X values are adding. First both values are adding, minus 1 and 4. So and also just adding up all the numbers. Minus 5, minus 5 plus 3, then 3 plus 6. Okay, and we are going to do it minus 5 plus 3 like that way, and 3 plus 6, and then just two values are here. Same thing, this is 4 and here is 1. So 4 plus 1, and here is 4 and minus 3. 4 plus into so 4 plus 1 is 5, and that is 1. So 5 and 1 is your answer. So this is the way that we do it. Okay, let's suppose, let's do some another. Let's suppose this one. So here are the points. First point is 0 0, other point is minus 6 and minus 2. Then we're just going to subtract x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1. Okay, let's discuss this one. Let's take this figure and then just finding it out. Firstly, we're going to finding it out this one. So now, first of all, let's see. This is 0, 0. And what is this point called? That is minus 6 and minus 1. So for x component, x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1. So what are x2? Minus 6 minus 0, minus 1 minus 0. So the answer is minus 6 and minus 1. This is your x1 y1, that is your x2 y2. So from that we are just going to put the numbers. Let's see, our answer first is right, minus 6 and minus 2. And that is it's sorry, it's in minus 2. I was wrong. Okay, now let's discuss the next for y components. So what are the values for the y? One value is same, that is for minus 6 and minus 2, and the other is minus 5 and 2. Okay, this is your x1 y1, x2 and y2. So for y components, x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1. So your x2 is minus 5 plus 6, 2 plus 2, that is 1 and 4. Now check, is the answer same? 1 and 4. Or there is negative sign. Is this minus 7? 7 and 2. It's minus 7. So here is minus 1. Okay. Now for adding x component plus y vector. So minus 6 plus into minus 1, minus 2 plus into, yeah, plus 4. So minus 6 minus 1, minus 2 plus 4. So this is minus 7 and this is 2. So let's see, minus 7 and 2, and that is the right answer. This is the proper way to find first of all x component, y component, and then just addition. Hope you guys understand this lesson. So today we cover the grade 10 maths. The chapter today we cover that is a vector. And here are the list of the lessons. The first lesson is find magnitude of vector, find component form of vector, find component form of vector given its magnitude and direction angle, add and subtract the vectors. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudent.com. You have to log in by using the email and passwords that are provided by the administrator. So before starting the next session, you guys make sure to practice all these questions regarding all these lessons. But if you still need any help with any of the questions, then you can contact tutors by using this live chat button. So open this, put in your name and department, and then just send. In this way, you directly contact with the tutors. So for now, have a great day, you all. Bye.